What are you two talking about?
Oh, nothing. Just the end of the world.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Pods the Watchmen. I'm Grant.
I'm Clay.
And we are talking about episode 5 of the series. This is the halfway point, Clay.
Yeah, we're more than halfway there.
Yeah.
I know some people might have been wondering if we're doing a skit this time.
Is this a skit?
Did we get a lot of messages on the skit?
No.
Okay, we got 0 messages.
I feel like people just wanted to forget that the skit ever happened and just move on with their lives.
I'm sorry for doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm going to do more skits, so you guys are just going to have to deal with that. Suck it. But we are talking about episode 5 of the podcast of the show, Little Fear of Lightning.
Backwards.
What?
Yeah, backwards. I mean, it was written backwards.
Right.
It was pretty sweet.
I don't know what. I didn't look up what Little Fear of Lightning even refers to.
I don't know.
I need to check that in a second.
I don't know.
But yeah, we're going to be discussing this episode. And if you guys are new to the show, I mean, welcome, checking out episode 5 of us, but awesome. Glad to have you guys here. We are a weekly companion podcast for the Watchmen miniseries, and we like to do a breakdown and review. Every episode, we try to jump in about an hour after it, and it's always like this kind of quick scramble to get over here to the studio, here at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas, and try to put everything together, figure out the videos, and then put this all together. But we're here.
Yeah, it works.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into this because I'm super excited. This was a Looking Glass episode.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think we all needed it. I think we all wanted it. And we didn't have to wait too long. I mean, you know, I'm glad it didn't come at like episode 7. Five felt right.
Definitely. And a little bit about this episode before we start dissecting it. This was directed by Steph Green. Steph Green's worked on Billions, Preacher, The Deuce, The Americans, Luke Cage, You're the Worst. Quite the pedigree.
Yeah, nice CV.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a ton of awesome shows. The writers for this week are Damon Lindelof and Carly Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And Carly Ray is also the co-executive producer on this show. Was a producer as well over on Leftovers for the 3rd season.
Holy smokes.
And Westworld season 2.
Holy smokes.
She's also been a writer on some of the greatest shows of all time. Leftovers. We both are huge fans.
Frasier.
Mad Men. No Frasier on.
Oh.
Mad Men, Constantine, Mindhunter, Bastard Executioner. Just a huge list of great works. And we're really excited because cross your fingers, we might actually get an interview with her in a couple days.
You don't say.
Yeah.
You know what my first question is going to be?
What?
Because you're going to list that, right? To kind of introduce her.
Just the
right. I mean,
list
during
of
the
all
interview.
Things.
And then my first question is going to be like, what's your work-life balance like?
that's
do you have work-life balance with all that?
Well, I mean,
it's important to know.
She's taking a little bit of time out of work to balance for an interview with us.
Right. There you go.
So if we have that, we are excited to be able to post that later in the week. Speaking of posting things later in the week, we did want to tell you guys that, if you guys have been subscribing to us, you already know this, but we do encourage everyone else to go ahead and subscribe to our channel because we do like to do additional content in addition to just us talking about the episode. Later in the week, we will touch upon some other deeper theories and discussion. We did a phone call, which the audio was bad, and the audio was bad on our last week's episode.
Yeah, apologies for that.
Yeah, that's no good.
We're figuring it out.
Yeah,
when I say you should be figuring it out.
Well, I know what the problem was. We've since fixed it, so things should be a lot better now.
Good.
But yeah, we do these little mini episodes. We were talking a lot about theories of Lady Trio and what's going on with Adrian Veidt. I did a little mini for our patrons. Another way you guys can help us out is patreon.com/whopodsthewatchmen. Mm-hmm. And we've been getting a good amount of people that have been subscribing, signing up lately.
Nice.
Very, very encouraging. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah.
We've been trying to do many additional little shows and snippets and things for them.
Right.
I did a little show where I was discussing the moon and Vietnam and I was doing a recap of what's been going on over at Pedopedia.
Okay.
You wrote an article.
I do. Yeah, I'm writing articles now.
You wrote an article on our site that was a comparison between Silence and The Watchmen.
Yeah, probably the first comparison people have done on those two movies. Would you do you think so?
I would guess.
Yeah. So if anybody liked it or if they didn't like it, just know to either read it or don't read things like that in the future, because I will be putting them out. It's up to you if you want to waste time.
Well, I appreciated it. And hopefully our patrons did well. We want to give a couple shout outs to some of our latest patrons. Thank you to Angelica, Austin Ken, Fernando Rodriguez, Jasmine Quinones, Joe Johnson, and Philip Lay.
Awesome.
Yeah, we know Phil.
Motley crew.
Yeah, but it's we're glad to have all you guys as patrons. Thank you so much for your patronage. Once again, if you guys want to help us out, that's patreon.com/whopodsthewatchmen.
Okay. Are we done with all this?
We're done with the plugs.
What'd you think about the episode?
Okay, the plot of the episode, real quick, is they wrote, the origin story of Looking Glass is revealed as the truth behind the greatest hoax in American history, as is the greatest hoax, and the smartest man in the world plots a daring escape. I can't say that word.
Yeah.
What did I think? Loved it.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, pure joy. I kind of was thinking, it's funny that they started with the kind of radio tuner at the beginning, right?
Right.
Because it really felt like Lindelof. I mean, this is cheesy as hell, but Lindelof really like dialed it in. This felt like
You think he dialed it in?
He dialed in like pure Lindelof. No, I mean, he didn't like phone it in, call it in, mail it in.
That's why I thought you
He dialed in his quality and got it like it just felt like a classic Lost episode.
He was fine-tuning. Yeah.
He was fine-tuning it. I mean, and it was awesome. Like, he found his the pacing and just kind of the way things were revealed. Didn't it feel like a Lost episode?
Yeah.
I mean, it just felt fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we definitely got like the flashback kind of quality, right?
Yeah.
That a Lost episode has.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it was kind of like these little snippet flashbacks, and then of course, more and more is revealed as you go on. What do you think about this?
Oh, about the drink?
About the cider? Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
What is this?
I don't know. You didn't want the cider at first. You balked at it.
It's Argus cider, lagered cider. Right on.
Yeah.
And I just took the first sip, and it was great. This is out of Austin, Texas. We're
Inspired
out of Austin, Texas as well.
We are out of it, and we are in it. And anyway, we're drinking cider in it. Yeah, this felt like a real Lost episode. I thought the soundtrack was kick-ass. I thought this really felt to me like almost just like kind of like the what was the Lost episode? What was it called? The Constant or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one you remember. This one I think is one I'll remember. And I really felt, I think I was telling you this before, after what? I mean, I know I joined on a couple of weeks later or into it, but that's about 9 or 10 weeks of looking at the comic books for me, right? And then now it's 4 weeks and then maybe a couple weeks in between. But that's like 3 or 4 months of like taking notes each week and really kind of like diving in. In this episode, I really thought, I just want to be a fan and just sit down and watch it, and so I didn't take any notes during the show. And this was like an awesome episode to do that too, because it was just fun. It was just like a popcorn fun episode.
I'm actually a little jealous that you just sat down and soaked it in.
Yeah?
Because I was just constantly like pausing, taking notes.
Wikipedia.
Pausing, taking notes.
Yeah.
Checking out what that was. Oh, was that a reference to this? Yes.
You're good at that though.
Which is a very enjoyable way for me to watch it. But, also just kind of unplugging and just soaking in and basking in an episode.
Basking in George Michael.
And a little bit of careless whisper. I think there's something to be said for that. And maybe I was limiting myself a little bit. But, nevertheless, my hot take.
Yeah.
I thought this was a powerful study on character for Looking Glass. I think they did a lot of pretty big reveals plot-wise about like what's been going on. Like, we have a lot more insight into Senator Keene and into the Seventh Cavalry and what their mission might be. We have answers into what happened with Judd. We already have a much better idea of Judd and his alliances now. And I think a lot of that is kind of queuing things up. Like, I heard that by the 7th episode of this is 9 episodes. By the 7th episode, it was going to pretty much be in a place where, all right, we've established a lot of we're starting to wrap up and do info dumps and solidify what the plot was. And now we're just kind of moving toward the finish line. And I feel like this episode already did a lot of the heavy lifting while doing it so gracefully and doing this really introspective study on the character of a lovely and damaged man.
And it's funny that I think we should have expected that. You know, I mean, looking back on it now, he wasn't a bunker when we saw him last week. You know, and he was taking and developing photos of squids.
You could already tell that this guy is.
You could already tell, but I don't think I spent enough time thinking about that, you know. And now, of course, it all makes sense. And I love that they visited it and did it in such a way that, like you said, it was a really deft approach, you know. I don't know, it just felt good.
The idea that he is a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy nut, literally, he wears this foil, which I wrote down the name, but I forgot what exactly.
Patent pending from EDS.
Yeah,
extra dimensional security.
He wears foil-lined hats, and he has his mask, which block out psychic waves, and that's what allows him to sleep easier. But before, I want to jump in and talk about that cold opening.
Yeah,
this was so exciting because we jumped into the world of the Watchmen comic. I'm pointing over your shoulder here to the Watchmen comic, which is right there behind you. And this was 1985. This is taking place in Hoboken, New Jersey, just south of the river from New York City. And so he was in the psychic blast radius when all this is going down. But this is also happening within the world that we were already so used to when we were dissecting the comic.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It was a walk down memory lane.
Maybe, I don't know if you were catching all of the little Easter egg details, but they were throwing them in plenty.
Yeah.
You had the lovers kissing. That was the blasted into the wall spray paint graffiti scene that you see later in the comic throughout. You have the person sitting down reading the Black Freighter comic with the Veidt method.
The Veidt method, right.
Advertised on the back of it. You have the Top Knot gang who ends up harassing young Wade before he goes with the girl into the House of Mirrors.
Later, we had a reference to Pale Horse.
Pale Horse poster was on the wall with the Crystal Nacht concert that they were putting on.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's more, like Pale Horse ends up getting revisited in this episode as well. But it was just like, it felt like they had such a rich playground to build that scene with. And they were just having fun with it.
It was cool. It really felt like a carnival. I mean, for viewers, you know what I mean? And for people who had read the comic. I mean, I know it was set in a carnival, but it was also just a carnival for us. It was cool.
Absolutely. It was a feast for our eyes. And there was also such a joy and revelry in the 80s-ness of that scene.
Yeah.
We have Wade as this young, earnest guy who's shy, but trying to, put on airs that he's a little tougher. He's going out there and he's trying to proselytize for, I'm guessing, the Latter-day Saints or some sort of religious equivalent. That's a religious doctrine that they're trying to proselytize in the wake of the Doomsday Clock.
They were in the whore's den, or however they put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sinner's den or something like that. But the fact that they're going around and he encounters these bad kids. It felt like this sort of throwback 80s movie where he's the good, honest kid who's going to help change their mind and oh no, this is where Danny LaRusso gets in a fight with the bad kids, but the girlfriend absconds with him and takes him to the House of Mirrors, and maybe they're gonna find true love. Maybe this is like Revenge of the Nerds or something, right?
That's not true love.
Revenge of the Nerds,
yeah.
That one's actually a really dicey scene.
Yeah,
but in this case, I like that the music was queued up. There's Careless Whisper playing, and it felt like the cool, confident girl's taking the geeky guy, and she's gonna take him to Pleasure Town in the House of Mirrors. Instead, she robs him.
Totally. And
how that sequence of events totally sets up who Looking Glass is from then on. I thought it was so expertly done. The damage that he felt from that, the trust issues that he clearly has, the abuse from from women, I guess, but I wouldn't say like in a misogynist way. He was necessarily showing it, but I think that he just has extreme trust issues and maybe intimacy issues as a result, and he keeps kind of reliving that, and that kind of plays a factor into who he is and his paranoia, and that in conjunction with the psychic blast.
Well, two things. I mean, first, whenever she, if you're gonna lose your clothing, right, and you have to run out of a fun house in New Jersey, pretty much naked. He might have had his shoes on. I don't know. I mean, kind of thankful for the psychic blast.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
this couldn't have worked out better.
it's a distraction, like you need a big distraction.
No one's going to see my dick.
Because you're right. That's the difference between this and an 80s movie. In an 80s movie, he would run out and just like kind of like this and be sheepish. Here, nobody even noticed. So I was kind of thinking like, okay, cool. This worked out for him. It worked out for him. Two, what she says to him, the question she poses to him whenever she's saying, so are you afraid, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, no, right? Because he's thinking, well, I walk with like the confidence of the Lord and everything like that. And if I do die, then I'm in the Lord's good graces or whatever. That's how I took that, right? He kind of has that Christian confidence about him. And so then she asks him really succinctly, what are you afraid of? And we dealt with that question the entire episode. What are you afraid of? What is this anxiety? How do you overcome it? How do you deal with it? How do you ignore it, right? And that really, that question, when you look back at it, and I didn't take notes, but that kind of stuck with me. And so then when I did take notes later, when we were kind of getting ready for this real quick, like that's the central theme of this, right? And it does show, and we kind of get to explore that, how it plays out. And of course it plays out in this kooky, crazy world that Lindelof has built and Alan Moore's built. But I think that's the central question. And it was kind of cool to have that, like that structure, that framework for this episode. Because, I think, really quickly, like I was getting lost a little bit in episode 4 and 3, I just thought a lot was going on.
Right.
And we had a shit ton of stuff go on here too, right? I mean, now we have these governmental conspiracies and we have all this stuff going on. We saw the Seventh Cavalry again. There was a ton going on.
But it felt a little bit more comfortably contained in the vision of his particular story.
Two things. What are you afraid of? And is there anything that's true? Those are the two central questions and things that were said. So really cool.
The idea of fear, like what you fear, also came back up again with Adrian Veidt's master plan. And that's exactly what he did to everyone. That's the central theme of the show itself, or at least, or even grander than that, the Watchmen itself is fear of each other, fear of yourself, fear of the other.
Mm-hmm.
And the squid attack was meant to draw fear in a new direction, a new focus, so that you are no longer afraid of your neighbor in another country with a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
You guys could all come together and collaborate and drop your weapons.
There's a bigger threat over yonder.
Yeah, because there's an extraterrestrial threat.
Yeah, right.
And so, you're right.
Transdimensional, extra-dimensional.
Transdimensional threat. Yeah.
And I just want to say this too. I don't know if it was the phone call we did, which again, sorry for the bad audio, or it was last episode, which sorry again for the bad audio.
We gotta stop apologizing. We seem unprofessional.
Yeah, right. But you or Steve Jones, fucking Steve Jones. One of y'all or both were right about the mirror scene and the nostalgia pills.
Steve Jones. Well, Steve Jones was elaborating on the pills themselves being a nostalgia pill linked to of past history.
He called it.
Yeah. And that ties right into what Hooded Justice was saying, or Will Reeves was saying last week when he was talking about how those are to help with his memory. Those are his memory pills, but he wasn't fully being dishonest, but that was him being able to dive back into his memories from his past somehow.
Yeah.
They're pills that are very central to him and his biology, his DNA, how they're able to take one's lived experiences and extract from that memory pills that you can bask in and relive is fascinating, especially when we think about the fact that Lady Trio's daughter was on that IV drip and then wakes up with these flashback memories of Vietnam. So whatever medicines she's being injected with is presumably some other sort of synthetic
liquid form.
Yeah, form of
Yeah.
nostalgia, and it's playing off of, are those her memories or are those someone else's memories that she wants her to live through? And what does
Yeah.
this mean for the bigger end game? Can you dose this medicine out on a larger global scale, perhaps?
Yeah.
Not through medicine, but through a millennium clock.
Holy smokes. Kind of give everybody micro doses.
Micro.
So you don't revisit the awful stuff, but you're kind of like, oh, yeah, I like tomatoes.
Is that all?
You know?
I love these tomatoes that grow from trees.
Yeah. You forget genocide and stuff, but you're like, oh, I do like grilled cheese. You know?
That's perfect. Before we moved on from the carnival scene, first off, he's holding the jacket. He's naked. And the music that's playing, that Reznor and Ross, my buddies Reznor and Ross.
Okay. R&R.
That's what I call them now. It had such a great Stranger Things feel to it.
Yeah. Especially with the mirror.
The mirror, the 80s, the era, and the synthetic music. It was really good.
It was
synthetic?
cool.
Synth. That's what I mean.
I don't know. Synth pop. I don't know.
Anyway, I love that zoom out, but the transition from that kind of Stranger Things music to the New York with the squid.
Yeah.
He actually showed it.
That was cool.
And
when they were drawing it back, when they were pulling it back, were you thinking like, how much money did they spend on this? That was my thought. I was like, if they show the squid, then it's going to bump it up a few tens of thousands of dollars or whatever.
It was very impressive.
Yeah.
The zoom out to actually showing the squid was super rad.
Yeah.
That was the clear. I mean, we've already known that this isn't the same as the Snyderverse, but there was a couple. Look, Snyder, we can handle having a squid in here. It's not too far-fetched.
I don't know why you always have an axe to grind. You keep bringing up Snyder.
I have an axe to grind. Have you seen the TV show within the American Hero Story?
You're right. I know. I'm just trying to start my
That
week out on a good
gratuitous
note.
fucking that was going on was definitely a dig at the Night Owl Silk Spectre scene from the movie. That was just like out of nowhere. They have to have some hardcore grind
Well,
session.
he's sitting there eating the beans too, just like in the comic.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, it was cool.
They were obviously just trying to pull off of all of them. Phrasing, Grant.
Okay,
Phrasing.
come on.
Jesus.
No, but I mean, they did. I think in every aspect they've handled the source material better than Snyder. I mean, whatever. It's okay. It's okay to be in second place. Like, it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The transition though with the still the New York music.
Yeah.
And then it's an advertisement by a bunch of people for like, come back to New York. It's like, come visit or come live here. It's good again. It's safe. I love how I hadn't even considered how damaged in a way like
the real estate industry would be.
Like it's treated worse than something like Detroit. It's like Hiroshima or something. It's like it's an untouchable land in a way, right? But this is not. It's New York City, and like they have to try and solicit people to come back there and try and rebuild it to what it was. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess a lot of people wouldn't want to fucking live there.
Yeah, I mean, at least like like California and Chile and stuff they could always fall off the the west coast of of America, both North and South America.
Right.
But I mean, those are like really beautiful places. Great beaches, cool volcanoes. You can go skiing, whatever. I guess you can go skiing from New York too. But New York City really doesn't have that much to offer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's not like Northern California.
Well, it's the density of people and all the culture
that's what
brings
makes
that.
it cool. So if you don't have it, yeah.
Yeah. But I thought just the consideration of that, I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't really thought about what that would do.
So do you think do you think he was right? I mean, he's usually right about reading people. Do you think he actually did read those people, or was he kind of like projecting himself?
See, that is fascinating because maybe he was bullshitting him because his fear is greater than just reading those people. Even if those people are being genuine, he might not want anyone else to go there because he might feel he's sending other people to their death because that's a haunted land.
Yeah, and you know what? That's an interesting thing. I kind of thought when I was looking at Wade, kind of writing down my bullet points of his personality here, the first one I think was vulnerability. before, and we saw him vulnerable when he was like crying in the car and stuff like that. When he said that great line about, "Oh, I don't care, then why is there a tear under my mask?" or something, right? I mean,
Right.
awesome line, Jesus. But here we actually saw him vulnerable, like as a human being, like looking at the mail. You know what I mean? He has like spam and all this. They're not, I don't know, whatever. And the other thing is here, he's someone that's always trying to save people and also save himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's with the tinfoil hat or the bunker or whatever else. And this is somebody who's like really brave. I mean, he is trying to save people and get to the bottom of things. And he goes in with a gun against the Seventh Cavalry. I mean, I would have waited for backup, right?
No kidding.
And I would not have even have that.
But that backup would have never come.
Right, exactly. But we didn't know. I didn't know that. He didn't know that. You didn't know that. But this is somebody who's really, really brave. And you are right. So then maybe when he's looking at that marketing video, that advertisement, maybe he was trying to save people from going back to what he considered maybe like a almost certain doom. I don't know. Because the other guy, the ad man said something like, that was 30 years ago.
Right.
It's like,
do you get the sense that there's some sort of toxic, lingering psychic resin? I don't even know how to describe it. Not like radiation lingers, but
sure.
Is there like some sort of psychic energy that might linger?
That's the thing.
In a similar way?
I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but as you know,
what are the rules?
I'm not on social media. I don't know what people are really upset about these days, and not because like when you're at Twitter, everybody can get so pissed off about every fucking thing all the time.
I'm a little pissed off that you're saying that right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, I don't know. So I was watching it thinking, should I believe this dude who said that, he wasn't even alive then, but maybe it was genetically like locked from his mother and blah, blah. And then maybe it's, I don't know. I was kind of like thinking, should this guy just kind of get over it? And that's being insensitive, but also I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules about any of this. We're dealing with a parallel universe where you can have your memories in a pill. So I don't actually know how people can be affected by stuff in this universe.
But isn't that even more appropriate? How you personally like take other people's pain and you kind of project onto it. Like, I bet you're hustling me. Like you also are just skeptical of other people when they kind of say this. And I think that also plays into kind of the point of this whole thing.
Right.
Like how do you gauge what other people's fear, other people's pain are? Like what people wear masks to hide.
Right.
And they're keeping all of that kind of disguise. And yeah, you're right. Like this kid is he kind of just playing off the paranoia that his mom did, and then again, there's also
totally believe it too, right? Like I'm not saying he's being insincere. He could totally believe it, but is it actually there?
But that's also the legacy aspect, right?
Yeah.
Like we carry on the pain and the sins of our parents and all of it. Like we carry that baggage with us,
right.
And in this sense, he might genuinely be afflicted.
I mean, the dude had a cool haircut, and he had a pretty sweet beard.
So he's got that going for him.
Yeah.
Michael Imperioli was in the New York ad,
Mm-hmm.
eating the calamari. He's from Sopranos. It was pretty great to see him.
It was pretty
there,
cool.
Even though he's in like just a little bit part. It reminded me of
with women.
What's his name from Perfect Strangers popping up in Leftovers.
Oh yeah.
So good. Larry Applegate. And then the idea that Looking Glass's front, his job, that is his front, this is his main career, is that he's a marketing consultant who's basically like lied to me, which is the job that he does as well for the police department. He's a lie detecting machine.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious what you think about, now that we know his past, how does that inform the type of person he would be, that he would go into a profession of learning to tell if someone's telling the truth about him?
We know he's somebody who's very hard on himself. Whenever he's in that mirror scene, right, which is obviously a really self-reflective scene, literally in a lot of different ways, he doesn't think, oh, fuck that person. God damn it. I'm in New York or New Jersey and these fucking people, I can't believe this, fuck them, blah, blah. Instead, he looks at himself and he says, you're a dummy. You're an idiot. Of course you did this. So this is somebody with a lot of self-doubt and anxiety, not about like even extra dimensional things or whatever, but just anxiety in himself and like being right and making the right decision. So I do think that he can look at other people's levels of honesty, and their own anxieties. And like that one guy said, well, fear sells, right? And stuff like that. And he can look at that. And I think, yeah, that definitely does inform what he does. He always looks at himself to kind of get the truth of himself. I mean, I would say for the most part, except he kind of has this giant blind spot where he is kind of lying to people and saying he got through the tunnel when we know that's a lie, right? Like he's self-medicating with a bunker and with that EDS alarm system that he's set over 500 times or something, right?
Right.
So we know he's like self-medicating his anxiety that way. But yeah, this is somebody who looks at himself all the time. And so obviously he's going to be great at looking at others. And it's kind of interesting thinking about, again, even with the comic book, what's a superpower and what's just kind of like a hyper level of something we all have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he just has a really acute sense of calling out bullshit.
He's Tim Roth from Lie to Me. Remember that show?
I don't.
Oh, well, he had the same job. He would look at people's facial tics and be like, "You're lying."
Oh, really?
Case closed. And then it'd be like, "Okay, that's the end of the episode." No, I never watched that show either.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that's what happened. So Laurie is the acting captain.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see her now in the same stadium seating room, kind of changing the focus. I thought they did some really smart things in the beginning of this episode to kind of cue us, the audience, back into stuff that we need to be on the lookout for.
Mm-hmm.
She's saying, like, hey, what we need to focus on is trying to find the church.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about trying to rely on Mirror Man to read lies of people that you pick up. In fact, she seems to want to intentionally distance herself from costume vigilante work and just do good old-fashioned detective work.
Yeah, she's
right?
being practical.
She is.
That's the name of it.
But also, I think she has a chip on her shoulder about anyone who's wearing a costume and doesn't really want to advocate for that. Like, let's not lean on their expertise.
We're cops.
We're a bunch of tinfoil hat wearing people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. We're cops. Let's do cop work.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
But the fact that like she's reminding us, the audience, like, oh yeah, they're in this church. The church is going to be important, so we need to be on the lookout for this kind of church scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, we get to the scene where we see all the police detectives like walking around, and you see Red Scare, who's just like one of the best big characters.
Absolutely.
Loving this guy every time I see him. He's eating this sandwich that's got lettuce on it. And the reminder of the lettuce is so important, but also the whole exchange with like, are you using police evidence on your sandwich?
Well, I thought it was important two ways. I mean, A, to kind of prime us for looking at the lettuce again, right? And B, also just to think, okay, it's been 5 weeks now because this is the 5th episode, so maybe it's actually been, I don't forget how that works, 4 weeks, but really it's only been a few days. Like the lettuce is not bad yet.
Right.
You know, so this has all happened in a really compressed time frame, and people are kind of dealing with things as they come up, you know?
And a third thing, I think it's important for us to be conscious of our food resources and the scarcity of it, and to make use of lettuce before it goes bad.
Yeah, waste not, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The police evidence be damned.
Yeah, I mean, that iceberg, though, looked a little wilty.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was romaine.
Oh, was it okay.
I think it was some romaine.
Okay.
But
God, I love a good spring mix. Little rocket.
We learn a bit more about Looking Glass's past.
Yeah.
He goes into Laurie's office, Laurie Blake's office. And so she's talking to him about the reflectine that he wears on his head. Now I read it, what it's called. Reflectine.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah. He's also from Texas.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the border.
That southern
on the
accent.
border.
Yeah.
But that brings up my Cubes moment.
Yeah?
That brings up my Cubes moment.
Is it that mustache of his?
It's not. It's not. It's actually his pronunciation of the word Tuesday.
What did he say?
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Toosdee.
Is that?
And he does it so well. And I think we actually had a viewer, listener, whatever. She mentioned the fact that she thought that, what's the senator's name? Senator Keene?
Yeah.
She thought that his accent was a little overdone. But I have heard people, and, you know, to Wade's credit, I mean, what's the dude's name that's behind Wade?
Tim Blake Nelson.
Fucking awesome.
He's amazing.
You know, and I apologize for not knowing his name. I just don't know anybody's names. You know, I mean, I've known you for 15 years, and I still forget your last name quite often.
Grant Davis.
Right.
Yeah.
So his accent is, like, perfect. Just like his I mean, everything he does is perfect, and that's, of course, why this episode was one of the reasons it was such a joy. So, yeah, the Cubes moment was his pronunciation of the word Tuesday, because it was right on.
We're Texan boys.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
But you more so than me. Like, you've grown up here your whole life.
Yeah.
And have you heard people say Tuesday?
Absolutely.
Is that what your dad says?
My dad doesn't say that, but there's a thrift store called Tuesday Morning,
Mhm.
and it's where you can get like, surplus stuff, stuff that, whatever, obviously. But it's all new stuff. It's not like thrift store. And my grandmother volunteers there, and she says Tuesday the same way. She's like Tuesday morning. Tuesday.
That's a good little
Tuesday.
Cubes moment. I like that.
That's nice Cubes moment.
For anyone who doesn't know what a Cubes moment is, it is when you find something that is just interesting, delightful, something that resonates with you. It's in reference to the green sugar cubes from Watchmen, which Clay delighted in.
Yeah.
That was your favorite.
Now it's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so there was another moment, they did a great job reminding us, the audience, of a few things that allow us in a way to be like the detectives along the way.
Yeah.
It's like validating when we see the romaine lettuce drop off the truck, right?
Totally. I got so excited.
Aren't you like, I know.
Oh my God.
I know before.
But even before that, didn't you think the truck looked similar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I thought it was
And
right
I was like,
there.
oh, we can't see who the driver is. Oh my God.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So I thought that was perfect. We also find out from when Laurie's talking to him that Laurie's direct. She's like, so what's up with the pills? I bugged your desk. Which the bugging of the desk becomes very important at the very end, too.
Yeah.
So it was a great moment to like foreshadow these other events that are going to be the downfall of Sister Night.
Yeah.
In a way.
The episode was structured wonderfully.
Yeah. I love that. I love how Laurie Blake, how Gene Smart's playing her, but how she just doesn't give any shits.
No.
Yeah. She's like, oh yeah, I bugged your desk. No biggie. I'm going to tell you straight up that I did this.
And also, you're going to sit across my desk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to kind of talk shit to you and your whole persona and everything that you stand for and do. And I'm going to say that the reason you even wear a mask, even though he has done like good police work, and I would assume has saved a lot of lives, right? And done he's, from all intents, like from everything we know about him, he's an honest, good dude, right? So he's probably done good work, and like the city of Tulsa is probably lucky to have him.
Yeah.
And yet she's still going to sit across from him and just talk absolute shit to him. And just make him feel like shit. And make him feel like
an
nothing.
asshole.
Because she is, Yeah.
Yeah, she's an asshole who hates herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she hates everyone who's following in the same footsteps as she did in the past of wearing the mask. And so she projects onto everyone else how she felt about herself.
Yeah, because she's going to go to a motel room with a big blue mag light, the cold steel of a big blue mag light flashlight.
I don't know if you saw the extra information about that.
Of course
you're
not.
bringing up the big blue dildo.
Yeah. I call it a mag light.
PDpedia had the diagram of the schematics for how that was built, and it was built by a company called Merlin Corps. And what's interesting about this...
What's interesting is that, yet again, you're talking about a big blue penis.
It's my favorite part, man.
That's what's interesting. Why do I leave my house on a nice Sunday evening to hear you talk about penises? I'm tired of it.
You know why.
Yeah.
But there's two documents that were released for episode 4 on PDpedia. And one was this schematic for how that was constructed. It's got like all these notes. It's very technical. And it's like, make sure you wash every night after use or whatever. Like little details like that.
Okay.
Sorry. But it also has an interrogation with Laurie right after she gets picked up in 1995 when her and Dan get picked up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's the notes that are there. There's some that are scrubbed out, so you can't read certain stuff. It's redacted. But within that, we learn a bunch of really interesting details, including that they were picked up in 1995 after they clearly were in disguise, in their costume personas, stopping Timothy McVeigh from bombing Oklahoma City.
Holy smokes.
She discusses how Merlin Corps... how the suitcase, she's carrying a suitcase at the time. It's the same silver suitcase. They're like, what's in it? Give us a combo. She's like, it's a big blue dick is in there. And they're like, why would it be a big blue dick? She says, my ex-boyfriend, Dan Dryberg, made this as a big fuck you to me when we broke up because he thought I was still pining after my old boyfriend, Dr. Manhattan. So what she's carrying isn't that she bought this big blue dildo for herself. It's like this last kind of vestige of her failed relationship with Dan Dryberg after he wanted kids and she didn't want kids, is what she says.
Can we talk about that for a quick second?
And it's like so much more profound, I think. like what it means.
Yeah,
like
you're
her
right.
opening
It's
that.
not just like a shock jock moment.
Yeah, she's not just like horny for a big blue dildo. Every time she opens that, it is a reflection of the failed relationship and how lonely she feels now because he wanted something, she wanted something else, and he couldn't take that, and so he spent time making a big blue dildo for her. Because he's insecure as well.
Because he's insecure as well.
We knew he was insecure
But
all throughout the comic.
She now has, and this is another moment here. This is not a Cubes moment.
Mm-hmm.
The owl that never gets to see the light of day, which she obviously still has thinking about Dan.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it was theirs together.
And I thought that, yeah, maybe so, huh? I mean, thank God she got the pet. You know?
Yeah.
During a breakup, like, I mean,
Well,
as you know me. Like,
he's
thank
in
God
jail.
you get the pet. Yeah. So, I felt bad for that owl. But now I'm thinking that owl's pretty damn lucky after seeing what happened to the dog this week. I mean, you don't have pets, but that had to that didn't rub you the right way, did it?
There's something in script writing called "Save the Cat."
Okay, I don't know this.
The idea that if you put like an animal in danger, then you try to rescue it. People are going to root for the person that's rescuing the animal or rescuing. Yeah, because people have investment, an emotional investment in that kind of thing.
More than people,
and it's also like a good kind of shorthand for like pointing out people that are bad guys, like people that are like endangering someone like that. You want that kind of risk. Here, in a way, it's like it's such an afterthought. Like put the puppy in the incinerator and don't even think about it. Like, oh, do you want this puppy? All right, burn this, on to the next.
Oh,
it was comedic. It was dark humor, and
yeah, it was funny, but it was also awful.
You're very much an animal man. Yeah. How did you feel?
I felt okay. I knew what they were doing, you know. But yeah, geez Louise, that was a tough one.
It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess we can go ahead and talk about that. He gets a call. He goes and checks on his ex-wife, who he's still pining for. And
what'd you think about her?
I thought she was interesting. Like she's strong-willed. She seems like she's kind of fine in her own place in the relationship, and she gives enough details of why it didn't work out between them. And it's clearly that he couldn't get over his paranoia and insecurity to a point that they could be in a healthy relationship because he always felt that she was going to abuse him and leave him in a way that didn't actually reflect what actually happened. In a way that he
Stop
might
saying reflect.
He might
thinking about psychic rays and stuff reflecting.
He might seek abusive relationships in a way because that's just kind of what he expects to happen.
Well, he also thinks the world's going to end.
Yeah.
So why invest in something and better yourself and everything else if it's all for nothing anyway, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I thought it was a really interesting scene. And like anytime you are with an ex and you can have, even 2 or 3 minutes like that and keep it civil and stuff, it's like, okay, we're in a better place now, So I kind of thought it was kind of real, like true to life on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked it. I liked her. I liked him. I thought the acting was incredible. I thought it was a good moment. And then of course we have nostalgia, which what was the cologne or perfume called in the comic book?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, okay.
That was Nostalgia by Veidt.
But that had nothing to do with it. I mean, that was just a name. That was just like that fragrance didn't do anything in the comic.
No, but I would assume that the branding wise,
he was introduced. He was kind of like priming.
That Veidt was also involved with what these nostalgia pills are.
Yeah.
They say briefly that these pills are outlawed along with cigarettes. Cigarettes are also
interesting, huh?
Cigarettes are outlawed.
I mean, thank goodness, but yeah.
Like we talked about this a little bit ago with like the cops smoking cigarettes outside of Judd's place when he goes to his death. He's all coked up and then he goes and dies. His officers are smoking cigarettes. And like, what does that mean? And he like turns a blind eye, even though that's a controlled substance that it's supposed to be illegal.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we have this nostalgia, which I guess is a psychoactive compound that makes you relive past memories.
And how many doses did Angela take?
Oh, she OD'd.
For sure. She's gonna trip.
Next week's episode is about her.
Okay.
And about that. And I know you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But you don't watch the previews for the next episode.
Right.
But let's just say, from what I saw, it's going to be fucking trippy.
Okay, sweet.
And we're not going to know the fate of Wade, I guess, as a result. because it's all going to be about her. In a way,
Is he
it's
not
like
long for this world?
I saw someone say it's a bottle episode, a bottle of pills. I thought that was kind of cute.
That was cool.
It's not a bottle episode, but it's cute thing to say. What did you say?
How are you seeing what people are saying when it's an hour later?
Dude, I checked.
Are you tweeting and driving?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
I'm not tweeting and driving, but I did.
Are you Redditing and driving?
I've Reddited.
Are you Redditing and Redditing and red lighting?
No.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. But that's another thing
Looking
too.
Glass was here, he would tell me what's true.
Speaking of good writing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we have such a great episode with Wade, and at the end, it's not enough for him to just throw the thing away and think, okay, great, he learned something and now he doesn't have anxiety. It's, then of course he goes and picks up the EDS alarm system from the trash, which I was thinking, cool. That means it's kind of like detailed. It's not just, it's multifaceted writing. Like this is probably what somebody would do. His anxiety's not dead yet. He's kind of like insurance policy. Okay, I don't know what's true right now. I asked Angela that on the phone. I don't know if I really saw what I saw and what's true. I mean, I just had a senator tell me about this crazy conspiracy. I might as well have the alarm system. And so I was thinking, cool, good end of the episode. And then they have the cavalry come out, guns a-blazing, and I'm freaking the fuck out.
I didn't know we were going to jump all the way to the end.
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, you just kind of brought it up. I mean, should I start writing my goodbyes?
It was, that whole sequence was perfect. I just thought that was one of the most intense cliffhanger endings to an episode. With the cavalry cocking their guns and running in there. They aren't running in there for just a friendly chat if they're cocking their shotgun.
No, and the thing is, a lot of superheroes can fight.
Mm-hmm.
Can he fight at all?
I don't.
If it was Angela, I would think, okay, 4 against 1, she might have a chance. Can this guy do anything?
Looking Glass is...
He's a marketing man.
He's totally like a contemporary for Rorschach, right?
Yeah, no.
You don't think?
Kind of. I mean, but okay, before this episode, yes. With this episode, no.
Okay. I would say, in a way, like he mimics and mirrors a lot of what people looked at for a hero in Rorschach.
Yeah, okay.
He's a small little runt of a guy that puts on this mask and that wears that as his skin all the time. It's more than just a costume. It's an identity. It's a persona.
He's Rorschach light.
Yeah, but he is like all the positive. He's all the good reasons that you should want to root for Rorschach instead of what Rorschach actually is, which is kind of a scummy dude who was determined, but he's got a lot of problems. And I don't find a lot of those same problems in Looking Glass.
I agree.
So
now we love him, and now he might die. I mean, he can't die though.
He could. I don't know.
Save the kitten.
I know. I really want him to live.
He's our kitten. He's our baby kitten.
He is.
We love him.
So I thought that when he goes back and grabs that box back out of the trash, it was this huge character growth moment, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need my hat. I'm leaving it in the chair. I don't need my silver hat. I've learned the truth. This was therapy for me. I can actually finally like let go of this bondage and move on. Mm-hmm. And then he gets that box, and that's another reminder. He's like, I don't need this either. But then he goes back because it's more than just a psychological, like it's an addiction.
That's why I was saying self-medicating.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, that type of anxiety and dealing with that is an addiction. Absolutely.
He needs this.
And he may actually need it not just, emotionally, or I guess I mean to say he could be actually affected by the psychic blast still. We don't know. I mean, from the context of the comic book and everything, that was the intent of it, right?
The psychic blast still was real.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So, I mean, he actually was affected. Let me ask you this. This is interesting. It was my understanding with the psychic blast, at least in the comic book, that it just kind of made a bunch of things explode. And I'm probably wrong about this, but it just made a bunch of things explode. And then those explosions just knocked over buildings and someone dies by being like crushed by a building. I didn't think someone just like had their brains blown out by the psychic blast, but I guess that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's kind of interesting.
It seemed kind of peculiar that like I guess the psychic blast itself was enough to cause like brain hemorrhaging.
So how could it turtle soup one person's brain? And I mean, we're not doctors.
Right.
If anybody listens to us for 5 seconds, I think they know that. How does it turtle soup your neighbor's brain and then you just get ruptured eardrums? I guess I don't understand psychic blast, and I'm kind of like looking for the answers here.
I think that maybe him being shielded by being indoors, maybe him being shielded by a room full of mirrors, maybe some of that energy bounces off of that. I don't know how it works with a psychic blast.
I was actually believing you and thinking that you had some like gravity to what you were saying, and then you kind of just started going like this. And I thought, I
did a shrug where I'm like, I'm bullshitting me right now.
Yeah.
But maybe it's possible that there's something about that, as well as like there's this. It's a great superhero origin story, isn't it? In a
Absolutely.
way, to have this idea of the psychic blast of him in a house of mirrors, and it shatters all around him, and he becomes Looking Glass.
Well, question. I mean, speaking of the origin story, we have that 35 years ago, and then he just does marketing, or we don't know because maybe that was his cover. Maybe he actually did marketing before that. How did he become Looking Glass? I mean, he could have just been a paranoid guy, and then does he just like after the White Knight or whatever, does he just show up and say, "Hey, I've got this idea"?
Hey, I've always wanted to be a costumed vigilante.
He just runs into Judd or whatever at the Dairy Queen. He's like, "Oh, you get Heath Bar
oh yeah, you're
blizzards
right.
too?"
Because that was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
The White Knight,
Right.
I think they said was about 3 years ago.
Sure, but I guess, yeah, so we have an intervening 27 years or something where we don't know what he was doing.
He's already a full-fledged detective that is like in charge of interrogation.
With a room, like a crazy
with a bubble
trade
room.
secret kind of room.
So this is not a guy who had to join as a rookie and climb the ranks. He came in with quite a CV.
He wasn't Turner and Hooch.
No.
Yeah, they didn't put him on traffic duty.
No. Which, that's an excellent point.
So does he walk up to Judd at the Dairy Queen and he's like, like, "Oh, you get Snickers, Blizzard, but then you eat half of it, and then you give your wife the rest of it because she had a steak finger basket, and she's going to be a little bit like ready for something sweet after that steak
You're
finger
saying
basket."
this so quietly.
Right? So, I mean, and then Judd looks at him, he's like, "Fuck, we need a man like you." And then he gets this job like at the top. I just want to know, like, his career advancement is really impressive. And as a young lawyer, like, I want to go up there. Like, I'm ready. I'm tired of working my way up.
How do you get to a point like that? How does he just level
In
up
3
so
years,
quickly?
in 3 years.
But you're right. I assume that he must have always had this sort of paranoid schizophrenia to a degree.
Not schizophrenia.
I don't know.
What do you mean? I mean, maybe I don't know what schizophrenia is, but I mean,
is he not like kind of projecting sort of imaginary paranoia on things?
No.
I'm not sure how it's manifesting.
Did he heat up the beans?
In the can?
Let me tell you
in
something.
the microwave? That's bad for the microwave.
Oh, wait, did he heat it up in the microwave? I don't remember the microwave.
No.
Because here's what I mean to say.
Okay.
Here's what I mean to say. If you're somebody who puts a tinfoil kind of hat on and then a mask on, as soon as you take the hat off, you think, okay, I'm in my house now, I can put the whole mask on, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking, okay, like we all have our things. You know what I mean? Like every day's a struggle. Like we all have our problems, right?
Right.
I get it. Like I get that. If you sit down though and eat a cold can of beans and you don't use a bowl and you don't even heat it up, I don't get that. Like at this point, I'm thinking of.
So
No, but you know what
your
I mean?
argument is that wearing a reflective mask while you're in the shower,
No.
that's not crazy. Eating a cold can of beans, you're a lunatic.
Listen, okay, you have a great Thanksgiving party.
Okay.
Okay. No, I mean you do.
I do.
You have an annual Thanksgiving party. It's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
It's gonna be great.
If I show up and because I know you, I know maybe 10 to 12 other people there. I don't know the other 60 or 70. Probably for good reason. You kind of keep me sequestered away, right?
Yes.
If I see somebody in the corner of your house and they're wearing like an old 1920s or 30s zoot suit with a hat with a feather, I'm gonna think, I guess that's just that dude. That's just him being him. Okay, cool. If he's sitting there eating a cold can of beans at your house, I am gonna go up to you and be like, "Do you want me to help you try to get this guy out of here?" Right? There's a difference between wearing crazy outfits and then eating cold cans of beans.
Yes.
Christ on a bike. We have electricity for a reason. All right, sorry.
No, that's perfect. I want to transition really awkwardly from what we've been talking about. Let's Well, actually, we already kind of covered that part. The Smiley O cereal, obviously, his second little test focus group thing
Yeah.
that he's doing. That's a callback to the smiley face stuff. It's
I mean,
everywhere.
okay. Can I bring this up too?
Yeah.
I have the yellow watch, which is kind of looking at the callbacks to the comic book and everything like that, and the color yellow, which
Right.
obviously, did you notice anything like that? I mean, I know you weren't necessarily looking for it, but I noticed. I just had one, and I wonder if other viewers or listeners had any other ones.
Tell me what it is that you noticed.
What I noticed was his phone in his basement bunker was that perfect Watchmen yellow, the kind of banana yellow.
Really?
Did you not notice that?
No.
It was awesome because it stood out against the different colored EDS alarm system and everything like that with the red button. And so you had this perfect yellow phone, and then he had the yellow cord because it was like it wasn't a cordless. I don't know what those are called.
Right.
Corded phone. And anyway, it was awesome. I didn't know if you noticed any other things like that. There were a ton of callbacks to the comic book in this episode, but the color yellow always obviously stands out.
No, I hadn't actually noticed that, but I did notice the two phones. He had two phones. He had a red phone
Yeah.
there. I'm guessing the other one was the yellow. It's very
Was
ketchup and mustard then.
Yeah, was there any reason to him looking at the bunk bed and him sleeping on the couch? Was that just because he was kind of in a he had lost his wife and he was kind of thinking, I can't sleep in the bed. It reminds me of her or something, or what?
There was the song that was playing, which was "Once You Found Her, Never Let Her Go," and it was playing as he was laying in that bed and looking at the other empty bed. He was laying on the couch rather and looking at the empty bed, and I think it was him pining for that intimacy in a way, but like thinking back, I have to not say reflecting.
Yeah,
thinking back on how he lost her.
Yeah.
And he lost her for what he knows is his own fault in a way, like his own paranoia, his own hangups. But like it's hard for him to kind of move past that.
And that was so wild about this episode was that he knows that full well, and he has these moments of clarity where he can kind of think about that, or at least we see him think we think we see him thinking about that, and yet he's still in the bunker, which just shows you how much of a bitch addiction is and this anxiety he's dealing with is, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
So his extra dimensional anxiety group therapy,
Yeah.
that he's leading,
Was
even
it
though he's obviously
It was in a Methodist church.
in a Methodist church.
I saw the fire, like the flame. Yeah, it was awesome.
Their code when someone walks in is friend of Nemo, friend of Nemo's, and she goes, yeah, before she walks in. I didn't know if that's like something maybe you were familiar with.
I was hoping you could tell me.
I never read Little Nemo.
I was hoping you could tell me.
I've seen Finding Nemo, but
Yeah.
no, I'm just not as familiar with Little Nemo. So I was like, wonder what that's about. The actress from Deadwood though, rolls in, and it was like super exciting to see her because I'm like, oh, if you're in this, you're obviously going to be a person here.
Yeah, but what'd you think about that scene when she was in the parking lot?
What scene?
When she was smoking the cigarette when he walks outside.
Oh, I thought obviously she was playing him. She was trying to get him. Wait, was that not her? Maybe that's not the actress.
Oh, I mean, when you said that, I just kind of moved on because I haven't seen that and I don't really know.
I could be actually wrong there because I'm looking at her IMDb and I don't see it.
Be careful, you're gonna get in trouble.
I totally thought it was actress Paula Malcolmson. But
Anyway,
maybe it's not listed yet.
It obviously she was baiting him. The scene was a little slow, but I mean, it was probably supposed to be slow because that extra 2 seconds or two, whenever he's about to get in the car, you're thinking, "Oh no, there's something more here,"
Right.
I mean, that's kind of how it's designed to be, but kind of slow. It was really interesting when they were at the bar right after that, and she starts talking about the movie Pale Horse, which it was in '92, right?
Right.
And won all these Oscars, Academy Awards, whatever. And then we have the red scene, which was a black and white film. I mean, obviously,
Schindler's List.
it was awesome. I mean, it was just like this episode was so fun for both, I think, casual viewers and people that like the comic alike. There were just so many of these weird things. You're like, oh my God, they're like us, but they're not like us.
And this is also rewarding for anyone who, like myself, kind of goes off the deep end and reads all the extra material, the PDpedia.
While driving.
Right behind you is the record that we got. It's sitting right next to the Watchmen comic. And inside of the Pale Horse record is, or the Sons of Pale Horse record that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross put out. There's this pamphlet, this what do we call it? article that was written detailing the history of the band Sons of Pale Horse.
Yeah.
And it actually mentions a lot of the inspiration for the Spielberg movie,
Yeah.
Pale Horse. It goes
Yeah.
into that a bit. I wasn't clear when I read about it in that pamphlet that this was actually his version of Schindler's List, and said he did it about the traumatic event of that was revolving around this band at the time of the squid attack. And yet he still kind of uses the same visual cues of a little girl like running under the tentacles, and it's all black and white except for her in red.
So when he was in
Powerful.
when he was in USC or UCLA or wherever he was in film school, he was thinking like, one day, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be like Nazi Germany or it's going to be post squid attack. There's going to be a girl, or there's going to be somebody. It could also be like in Tiananmen Square or something. I mean, I don't know. There's going to be somebody, and it's just going to be red.
I want that visual punch. I saw the movie.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
saw the movie Pleasantville, and I fucking fell in love.
Oh my God,
That's a terrible reference.
Christ!
Um,
Real quick though.
Yeah.
Real quick. Great elementary school, maybe middle school, depending on reading level and whatever. Black and white book, and then color appears. And what was the color and how did it appear? And this is really interesting, actually, for this episode, dealing with memories and taking pills and transferring memories to others.
A book?
A book.
It's like Wrinkle in Time or some shit?
Fuck no, dude. The Giver.
I never read The Giver.
What? Oh my God.
I never read it. My wife gives me a hard time all the time about it.
I was
I'm
going
like,
to say, I
don't
hope your
read it.
daughters, like you need to remedy that. They're a little young now, but remedy that by reading The Giver.
Is it anything like The Giving Tree?
No. I mean, it's like The Giving Tree's good and The Giver's good, but that's it. I mean, it's kind of like my comparison I did between Martin Scorsese's Silence and Watchmen. They're both good, but you really shouldn't compare the two.
I think fuck the book of The Giving Tree. I don't ever want to read that again.
Why?
Now that I have kids, that is just a hard book to
Yeah,
read.
my
That's emotionally like just heartbreaking.
My sister has probably one of my favorite tattoos. And it's the old man sitting on the stump at the end. People are getting a lot more than they probably bargained for on this, but it's a sweet tattoo. He's sitting on the stump. That's all he can give. The only thing the tree can give is a place to rest, and that's all the old man needs. Anyway, so does that book just remind you of the fact that your children are going to take everything from you and never really think about you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
and fuck that book.
Yeah.
Shelf Silverstein, you're a beautiful man, but that one fucked me up.
Okay, so what did you think about whenever he's going into kind of the mall scene and kind of just first impressions?
In the warehouse?
Yeah. Okay, it was an older band warehouse. For some reason, I was thinking older band mall.
No, I think it was a
Where
warehouse.
the Cavalry were? Okay,
But
yeah.
maybe it was a mall. It was really big. Big space.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly what to think, but once I saw him step through into the church, and then it turned to see the lights and the camera there, I was like, the whole thing is theatrics.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a
Right.
fake.
Right.
And I think this is really fascinating. What actually is going on with this Seventh Cavalry, that they've manufactured this. I mean, it still seems like it's recruiting white supremacist type people to be their zealots.
Right.
As far as what we can glean from what Keane was saying in the scenes, but still it feels like this is theater that they're putting on. They're trying to manipulate people akin to like The Mandalorian and Iron Man 3 or something like
God,
where
when you say
they're
The Mandalorian, I just want to start talking about that show. Do you have Disney Plus?
it's the Mandarin is what I meant.
the
The
Mandarin,
Mandalorian
okay.
is so good.
Oh my
And that
God.
is the cutest character I've ever seen in any show.
No, I know.
It
know.
is so adorable.
I know,
that I'm like,
I know what I want you to dress as for Halloween next year. Or maybe make it my Christmas present. Can you be Baby Yoda for Christmas?
I can try.
God, that'd be so cute to cart you around.
Oh man,
would
can I ride on your back?
I'm gonna put you on like just in a grocery store shopping cart.
Okay,
and
that's
you're just
close
gonna-
enough.
And you're just gonna wheel yourself next to me. Oh my God, I'm gonna love it.
You're not even gonna wheel me. Okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I thought that was pretty wild, and I mean, when did you ever suspect that? I guess I don't understand the scene. I mean, I liked it, but he walks in there, he has this gun drawn, and I remember thinking like, what is he gonna do? Like what? nobody's running. Why didn't he wait for backup? And that just really goes to the heart of his story. What's true and what are you afraid of? He's kind of trying to confront both of those questions by going in there with one pistol against all these fucking people.
You know, it's I went ahead and looked up where the title comes from.
Yeah.
It's a Jules Verne quote from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And it's, if there were no thunder, men would have little fear of lightning. Right.
If there were no thunder.
If there wasn't the follow-up boom
Yeah.
to kind of affect you, if there wasn't the reverberations, the effects of
know-
it, why would you be afraid of the initial, just the flash?
In Pixar's Cars, Lightning McQueen says to his other race car competitor, he calls him Thunder. And he goes, why are you calling me Thunder? And he goes, because it always follows lightning. Meaning he always comes in second place. Like probably the best line from the Pixar feature film Cars.
That's probably the best accents I've ever heard you do as well. Nailed it. That was just beautiful.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, we have them teleporting these balls everywhere. And what if you're familiar with the comic, you might remember that Dr. Manhattan is able to teleport himself from place to place. And Adrian Veidt, in seeing this, ends up working alongside Doc Manhattan in order to develop technology for the world. But his secret ulterior motive was to try and replicate a lot of the abilities that Dr. Manhattan had. In particular, his ability to teleport himself. And Adrian Veidt eventually figures out with his, what was the institution called? The Interspatial Institute, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Ends up discovering how to start to teleport items. So this technology exists, or at least it existed secretly, and it seems that somehow these Rorschach acolytes, the Seventh Cavalry people, have figured out a way to replicate this.
And is this why they were stealing those watch batteries? Does that acid or whatever in the battery have something to do with this? I mean...
Peteypedia
Okay.
talks about how there was another thwarted case where I think maybe it was McVeigh, but maybe Ben was someone else, was using lithium to make these lithium bombs, is what they were talking about.
Okay.
These lithium bombs that this had to be stopped. And these people could be making bombs out of all these lithium batteries that they're sourcing. And maybe the idea is to... What if...
No, please, yeah.
What if Seventh Cavalry were looking to replicate what Snyder did in the movie? What if the idea was, instead of the squid attack, they're like, we're going to use those teleporters to drop a bunch of bombs everywhere and have explosions that wreak havoc. So their goal is to basically bring about the Snyderverse, integrate the Snyderverse into this. And in a way... That is okay. This is just me wanting to link the Seventh-day Adventist to
Adventist?
Seventh-day Cavalry.
Seventh-day Adventist.
Apologies.
We're going to get in trouble.
The Seventh-day Cavalry, I want to somehow link them to these crazy zealot bros, the extreme fandom that is Gamergate.
Yeah.
That is like all these...
Pizzagate.
These fanatics online that are these gatekeepers of fandom and are really, I think, in cahoots with white supremacy in a way, a lot of times online. Like it seems to go hand in hand. And if there's a link between all of that and this meta commentary on how Seventh Cavalry are the people who idolized Rorschach in a way, just like the 4chan, 8chan fans who idolize Rorschach, this might get me more in trouble. But they want to...
If 4chan... like users are listening, they can just sign off.
But if they deify Snyder, and if these people's ultimate goal is to bring about something akin to that with just a bunch of explosions through the being teleported in, that'd be kind of funny as well.
I mean, I really wonder because, I really enjoyed this episode so much because I tried to view it just as somebody watching TV on Sunday night, just as a fan. I took notes after, obviously, but during the show, I just watched it. And it was a lot of fun. And now I'm thinking, fuck. Like, obviously, one of our favorite books of all time, series, is King Killer Chronicle.
Right.
I mean, bar none. I mean, that's just like an incredible set of books, right? And when we look at it, he's already, I mean, if he ever gets around to it, which take your time, whatever, but he's promised to wrap it up kind of with the third book. Okay? I'm kind of getting to a situation now where we have, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 more episodes. This was enough just going on this storyline to take me all the way through episode 9. I mean, we did not talk about the Millennium Clock at all. So how does the Seventh Cavalry interact with the United States government, which is Keen, interacting with Lady Trieu, right? Interacting with Reeves, interacting with Laurie, with Dan, who's in prison. I mean, holy shit, this web is big, and I'm freaking out thinking, if this is really just a 9-episode miniseries, are we going to get to this? Is this going to be Game of Thrones rushed?
Well,
I don't know. I'm kind of worried.
We have our lingering question.
Mhm.
Who killed Judd? Who do you think now as of week 5? We've got some more information. We now know that Keen is in cahoots with the 7th Cavalry. We now know that...
The easy answer is Keen because I don't like him.
But he's the one asking, like, who killed Judd in this episode. And
yeah, the person, whoever smelt it, dealt it.
that's the rule, guys.
Who smelt it, dealt it.
No, but I mean, I think that Hooded Justice being right by it, he could have very well killed him if he knows he's part of the 7th Cavalry and they're up to something that's
and also,
no good.
What's so funny is that now we're talking about, okay, he's part of the 7th Cavalry. Okay, I get it. He's part of the deep state. I mean, if people are listening, I'm doing quote fingers because that's fucking bullshit.
Right.
But he's part of the deep state, whatever. Are we just like forgetting that he had the clan outfit? Because the cavalry don't wear clan outfits. So the whole thing, like, what's going on with the clan outfit?
Well,
is this a polar bear? Is this Lindelof's polar bear?
No. I think that it's kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think.
That's what I'm saying. But, okay, episode 4, we didn't know what to think. Was it too much and this is now fun? Or is it all fun and all too much? Like, how are you feeling?
It's all fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for where it's building up. Admittedly, it's like just trying to process like all the different details of this it's a fun game, but it can at times be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Here's how overwhelming it is.
Okay.
We've now been talking for probably 4.5 hours. Okay.
And it's been an hour and 12 minutes.
Okay, so we're still good. Actually, that's kind of short for us. We have not even talked about Veidt on like the moon Io or wherever the fuck he was. I mean, we have a human that's in leathers, okay, and like an old spelunker, like steampunk Captain Nemo. Actually, speaking of Nemo outfit, and he's on a regular rope that he's threaded probably from horsehair or something, and we have not talked about that. If that scene was in When Harry Met Sally, that's the first thing you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
If that's in Notting Hill, that's the first thing you're talking about. But this is so crazy. We're talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, instead of the fucking solar system.
The bonkers ass scene where he shoots himself out of the biodome.
It does an SOS with dead bodies. We have not talked about that in, I don't know, hour and 12 minutes. And that's because this show is fucking nuts.
It's fucking nuts. It's amazing. And you're right. He's made himself a skin suit out of the dead bodies of all those people. Because where else is he getting the skin, right? For the leather?
I don't know.
He's skinning all those humans.
Well, he got in trouble whenever he killed the buffalo or whatever it was, or cow.
Yeah, he could kill that, but he can kill as many of his Mr. Phillips and Miss Crookshanks as he wants. And I bet he's stitching together their skin.
Oh, so that's what season 4, whenever it was like kind of the red wedding or whatever. That's why.
Why?
Maybe he was like, I'm going to get some anger out and frustration, but I'm also going to get my suit. Remember, because in the last episode 4,
yeah,
he killed all those people in his. Remember?
Yeah. So, you think he was like sourcing a bunch of skin from them?
Well, I don't know, but I just mean to say that the whole thing is insane. And now we know that, okay, I guess he's in kind of like a protected biosphere kind of energy thing. I mean, right?
Right.
He's actually on this moon, right? It's not a transdimensional thing. He's on this, and I keep saying moon. I mean, I don't know, right? Isn't it like...
No, it was a moon of Jupiter,
okay.
It seems. I don't know if
the
Io's
only
one of the
moon
moons.
I know is Io, so I said that to feel smart.
That seemed pretty smart.
Okay, cool. So
I'll take it.
So he's on Io.
All right.
Yeah. And And the idea that, and also I loved it. Like, what was so great was he's made this incredible discovery. And then at the end of it, we're all human. And so his people know after a certain amount of time to pull him back. So then he's just like 1 second he's on IO, putting dead bodies together, making a save me kind of message, which was kick ass, right? And also I loved how they focused on the V, which was kind of like episode 5.
Right.
Which was fun. And also Veidt, like the V.
Oh, wow, dude.
Because, they
I
did that at
didn't
first.
think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then they're pulling him back and he's just like being pulled through the mud. And it was like, okay, at the end of it, no matter how smart you are, we're just humans. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get pulled through the mud. It was cool.
So what was his message what did it actually say on the moon?
Save me.
It said, save me, and then the letter D. Duh.
Oh, shit.
And I was thinking, is that save me, Doc?
Oh, no. I think he's an advocate for our healthcare system, and he's saying save med. He believes in Medicare for all.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
Bernie, guys.
I mean, I'm a Bernie bro, but yeah, he believes Medicare for all, guys.
That's okay. Yeah,
I did not see the D. I thought it said save me.
I thought it said save me D because we get that we get the reflection where maybe some internet sleuths are going to be able to zoom in on the reflection off of the the satellite and be able to see what it fully said. But when
you mean that's okay? So on the lens of the satellite.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see a little bit of what the words were.
Okay.
But then it flips over and we see it cut off and it says "Save me," for the letter D. And I was thinking maybe it was "Save me, Doc."
So what's interesting here is that in the comic, we talked about how he was the smartest guy in the world, whatever. I actually wasn't that impressed. I trade on Robinhood, which is a great free stock trading app.
Okay.
I do pretty well. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to look at 100 TVs and it's pretty easy to do a good job trading stocks. Okay.
Sure.
In the TV show though, he's fucking smart. If he knows in 1985 that Redford's going to be in 93 or whatever, 92, elected. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking, okay, he knows on that date in 2014, 2015 that the satellite's going to be right there and he has to do it by that day. Wait, am I going? What are you smiling about?
Nothing.
So I guess my question is,
I'm liking this.
No. My question is how far ahead is he seeing things? Is he the puppet master? And I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. It's a legitimate question. How much does he know, and how far does that extend? If you're fucking smart and you've looked at all these externalities and eventualities, how far can you go before it just falls apart?
Well, it's so great that they're essentially doing. It's kind of like The Martian, right? The book. But
actually, I said but I mean,
you never saw The Martian?
No, I listened to it.
Oh, you listened
to the book? Yeah,
but it's kind of like that idea where you're Robinson Crusoe, you're stranded in this other land, and how can you use technology to
just eat
help
potatoes?
escape?
Just eat potatoes.
But he's stuck with steampunk technology, so he's already got one hand tied behind his back. This is a guy who is recreating his own intrinsic field generators and figuring out and what's it called, reverse engineering a method of that instant transportation CX924 transportation portal.
Oh, okay, you're reading
or whatever
the
they said.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who is brilliant, but he's relegated to fishing babies out of a lake in order to build up his own.
Okay, if the two of us were there, and I don't mean independently, but we're together, okay? Which, I really hope that never happens. You're one of my best friends, but Jesus Christ. Would we ever even be able to figure out a trebuchet?
I don't really know.
Probably not.
No.
If you looked at us, this is now 5 years down the road, and he's doing this, and he's putting, he's on IO or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. We would, if they showed us in 5 years, I'd be like, oh yeah, go pick some berries. I'm gonna go smear some animal fat on my face and go try to kill something, and you go pick berries.
Yeah.
And that's it.
No, it would be Into the Wild. I would have already eaten those berries and just they were poison. I would have died.
You would have killed me and eaten me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Just resort to.
And then the Lone Ranger finds us, and he's well fed and everything. It's because we can't survive. There's all these cows here, but we don't know what to do.
The fucking warden, won't let us.
The warden, yeah. So okay, what did you think about that? That's an interesting thing. Obviously, the warden. Because we kind of posited that maybe the warden was a computer program or something, kind of this tabula rasa, blank slate thing where he doesn't really have a personality. But he obviously seems to be knowledgeable about the fact that, okay, whoever was here and put us here has left us, but I still have to fulfill this duty. Kind of interesting.
Right. So the warden is obviously the same genetic replication as Mr. Phillips, that
Yeah.
that body type.
Yeah.
He's got a sweet little mustache. That's like his difference, and he wears a little domino mask. But it's the same guy, and obviously much more advanced.
Well, much more obviously advanced and independent.
And
The others are just fucking lemmings.
yeah.
I mean,
But if they also seem to advance in intelligence in a rapid way, it seems like he was able to age them in their machine, and he said, "Hey, within a couple hours, you guys will have the power of language."
yeah.
Which is
And even before they could talk, they could still understand.
mm-hmm.
Which I mean,
They had comprehension.
Which
and then,
my son, I mean, he can't talk and he can't understand. So
yeah,
I know you understand that too.
we get it.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, I'll take that.
It's very aggravating with how long it takes your kids to like learn stuff. But then suddenly they start talking to themselves, and then they're not pissing all over the place, and you're like, yes.
But the first word they learn is no. So
great.
I mean, okay. So you're saying that this guy is obviously the same prototype, but he's kind of imprinted. He's etched differently.
Yeah, he seems to have a different operating system that's a little bit more advanced, right? Because I still think, people have corrected me on the robot. I still think, in a way, they're a little bit robots. They're
What do you mean
not,
people? Like you're on Reddit now?
Yeah. When I've said these theories and people commented, like, they're clones, not robots. I'm like, well, they're kind of robotic in a way, right?
So who do you think is his?
They're not human.
No. Who do you think is his jailer? Do you still think it's and okay? Let me. I'm sorry. 2-part question.
Okay.
Who was his jailer, and did he foresee being jailed?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think his jailer, he made I'm leaning right now toward the idea that he made a pact with, like, Lady Trio. That's where I'm thinking. Like, Lady Trio and him worked out some deal of, like, I can give you the opportunity to live on a paradise of your own making where you can play God in this sort of system if you want to keep chasing who it is that Doc Manhattan is. And if Doc Manhattan is going out into the universe and making his own life, you can do the same thing. Do you think you're able to go play God as well and spawn your own life and create your own society? Here's a playground for you, but you have to go there, and I'm going to take over your industries for you as a trade-off. This is me in my own tinfoil hat.
Were you talking to Steve Jones?
No.
Were you talking to Mr. Swole, our favorite elementary school? Actually, I don't know. Elementary, middle, who knows?
No, don't know.
I actually really hope it's elementary because that makes him wearing.
We are getting comments from people that are watching our live feed, though, and Steve Jones did chime in to point out that Nemo is in reference to Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where the Jules Verne title is derived from, attacked by a giant squid. So these are people who are attacked by a giant squid. I could have put that together maybe if I was thinking a little bit better.
Jones is obviously
good call though. Jones, thanks.
Faster than us. I mean, I was gonna say like, okay, we only had like 30 minutes to do this, but I mean it's been the same amount of time for Jones.
Yeah. So other people get the
maybe if he's on the East Coast. I don't know how HBO releases stuff, but yeah.
We'll have to patch him in
Steve,
on an episode here.
Steve, we're sorry, man.
Yeah, you need to help us.
Like, you know how newspapers do corrections the next day?
Yeah.
Like after the whole after our podcast series, we're gonna have Steve Jones on at the end just to talk about what we got wrong.
All right, this part was complete
We'll
bullshit.
buy him a beer and be like, yeah, man.
Notting Hill reference? I wouldn't go with Notting Hill.
Oh, really?
Notting Hill is a good reference.
Thank
actually.
you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So I mean, your theory about the jailer is. Again, because I might have zoned out. I don't know if you got
I think that Lady Trio has put him there. I think that it was a mutually agreed decision that he would go into exile.
But when you say she puts him there, she actually has the technology, or she's borrowing it from him and they're working together?
I think it was a collaborative effort to isolate him there.
And why would he volunteer to do that?
I don't know yet.
Because he really wanted to prove himself in this utopian parallel thing where it was just this virginal.
Maybe he did it himself. Maybe he created this sort of construct where he isolated himself, and now that he's stuck there, he changed his mind, but he can't overwrite the rules that he's set in place, so he's trying to figure out a cheat, and his cheat to his own system of this prison on this Io moon of Saturn.
I love how you just assume it's Io now because I said it, like the village idiot.
I like it.
Yeah.
Is that he has to kind of create this workaround where he needs outside help, and so he's putting out an SOS distress call to maybe Doc Manhattan, maybe to someone else who's going to see that satellite image and send help.
Query.
But it couldn't it make sense? Sorry.
No.
Couldn't it make sense that what we see crashing into the field last episode, in episode 4, in Lady Trio's field, is Veidt 3 years from now from this scene? And that it took 3 years for her to see that, figure out a way to rescue him and get him to crash and then buy that land so he crashed into the land she already owns and she can contain the situation.
And I'll tell you what, the people who sold their land and they got a kid out of it and $5 million, I think it was $5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the happiest characters in the whole show. No, I mean,
they got a good deal out of it. Yeah.
They probably moved to like Healdsburg or Big Sur, like Northern California. They're just like loving it. They're in Sonoma.
Right.
They're having a good time. They got a kid. They can homeschool that fucker. I mean, it got to be nice.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. Like, I think we were thinking, I think last week we talked about, was it Dr. Manhattan? Obviously not, because he can transport or teleport, right?
Yeah.
It has to be somebody who's relying on other things. And so now if we have 4 more episodes or 3 or 4.
4.
Well, I know, but I mean, I wonder when he crashes down. Like, if we have that many episodes, so he's now, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Like, obviously he's the smartest guy in the world. But it's phenomenal. And I guess I wonder too, okay, Lady Trio has created this Pauly Shore biodome on the moon Io. I just don't understand. Where's that technology? Like, they barely can do a biodome in Tulsa or Antarctica. You're now telling me you can do a crazy sphere on a moon? I guess I just don't think he's... listen, I just don't think...
Put on your tinfoil hat. The government had stealth bombers for like half a century before they revealed it to the public.
Okay, whatever. So I just don't think he's as willing as you paint him to be. I really don't. I don't think he's as that. Like, why would he do it?
But
why would he do it?
Maybe so you think in the negotiations it's like a gentlemanly thing where he's saying like, oh yes, I know that I entered into this thinking it was going to be a paradise, but now I find it to be a prison. When he says a line like that, it feels like he entered into this willingly, rather than being a captive.
What's willing though? Like, look, if Manhattan tells him, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Right.
I could kill you right now, or I could put you on this sweet game preserve of sorts,
right,
and you could live the rest of your life like in this sweet Rift Valley Serengeti type thing.
Fish out babies as much as you want.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he did not know the fine print when he decided. I mean, so when you say he's willing, it's like, yeah, I'm willing. Like, if you give me a shit sandwich and then a turkey sandwich, I'm going to take turkey, and I don't like mustard. You know?
Yeah.
If you give me turkey, mustard, and Havarti, I don't want it, but I'm going to have that instead of the shit sandwich. So he was willing. I don't know. I guess I just don't know if he was... Okay, I think Lady Trieu is looking out for him, and she's working with him in a way. And obviously, she has a statue of him, right?
Right.
But
that's him frozen in carbonite.
Hey, speaking of Mandalorian, awesome. I mean, episode 1.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, anyway. That'll be a different podcast, but we should talk about Disney Plus. So,
we'll do it for Patreon.
No, okay, so what did you think about we talked about the music a little bit. Question, what was the music when he was on the moon moving bodies around? In my head, I'm thinking that must be an interesting song, but I don't actually remember it. I think it was classical music or something.
Yeah, it was a concerto thing that was going on. I saw in the subtitles it said what it was, but I didn't write it down. But him moving the bodies was very reminiscent of Black Freighter as well.
For sure.
Yeah, this idea that
but
the bodies of those around him are going to be his lifeline.
I don't necessarily think that Veidt, is losing anything. Like the Black Freighter was a story about somebody losing their humanity to save themselves and save the others around them, right? Veidt's already fucking lost that. He already killed 3 million people. I mean, maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, I don't know.
Do you think this is going to be a redemption? I mean, so far, it seems almost just as this comedic aside.
We
right?
haven't. Yeah, exactly.
There doesn't seem to be anything that's tying his plight right now to any sort of redemption for his transgressions and murdering millions.
We haven't seen anything as clean cut as a redemption story, right? I mean, everybody has these reasons, and it's complicated, and nothing's clean. I mean, just like looking at Looking Glass, whenever he threw away the alarm system, and then he comes back for it 30 seconds later, right? I mean, So a redemption story to me would seem, I don't know if it's like weak storytelling, because this has been a great, I mean, this is an awesome episode. I couldn't do it. You couldn't. Well, I don't know. You're really good. But,
Thanks, man.
you know, I just mean to say a redemption story just seems a little bit too wrapped up. You know, I don't know if we're going to get that. And I wonder if we're going to get, and it was interesting that you said earlier that you read that by episode 7, we should kind of have all the facts, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say all of the facts, but I think the idea is that, like, it's going to have enough information that you're not going to feel so hung up on that mystery as you're going to want the
When you say that mystery, what mystery?
The
we have
multitude of lingering mysteries
okay.
aren't going to be so heavy. But this leads me to want to kind of go on another rant about viewing audiences and how modern day shows like this are communicating with us.
Okay.
It's not simple. It's not enough. It's not enough, listening audience, that you just watch this show. There is a wealth of other information that goes into this, and I think that to a huge degree, it's actually pretty integral to the story. The stuff that they are putting out on PDpedia, the ancillary material, the reading the backstory, I think all of this really feeds into the narrative. The stuff that they included in the Pale Horse little bio document, I think that also feeds into a lot of what's going on with this and answers some of the questions that people might feel have not been answered just by watching the show. And this is the same problem that I feel like a lot of people bellyached about with Lost, where they're like, oh, but they didn't answer about the polar bears. I'm like, fuck, they did. They answered it in the show a little, but they also answered it in much more depth through the ancillary material. If you guys went online and you played the game, if you actually wanted to know the answer to these, they answered them. They gave you these things. And for people to be like, it just I should be able to get everything just from this one source. Well, then let the mystery be, just like in Leftovers, man. Right?
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I mean, well said, well put. I could
Was it well said?
No,
I don't know if it was well said.
That was
but
absolutely well said. And
it was passionate.
Let me say this, sorry to be self-help Clay here, and I know people are tuning off.
Rubio just chimed in. Our friend Rubio said the music was La Cremosa from Mozart's Requiem. That's what it was playing on.
What does that? Can you ask Rubio what that means in Italian or Latin? What cremosa means?
I can just look it up for us.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
that'd be nice.
Okay,
go to
sorry.
Google Translate.
I interrupted you.
But I guess I mean to say, sorry to be self-help Clay here, right? But we all have different, we eat different foods. We have different amounts of money. We have different family, friend values. We have all these different things. The one thing that we have that's constant and that's the same is time. We all have the same amount of time.
Right.
So if you do choose to spend your time not just watching the show, but also delving into the Wikipedia references and delving into the historical stuff and all the beautiful references and the PDpedia stuff, and then if there's a soundtrack and you want to spend your time that way, beautiful. That's your choice, and love it and appreciate it. And of course, it's not going to be the person who's creating it is not you. So of course it might not satisfy you in all ways, but good Lord, we only have a certain amount of time. So choose to spend your time wisely and then enjoy it, because we're going to fucking die. So have a good time. No, you know what I mean though?
If you don't like the show, don't watch it.
Exactly.
But if you're going to get that upset.
Exactly. We can all complain. I literally said, the one scene where Looking Glass leaves the Methodist church was a little slow, but if I really hated it, I would not watch it. And we can not read the ends of books. We can stop watching movies.
La Cremosa is Latin for weeping.
Okay. You know what's interesting? I thought that.
And
I didn't think that.
it's like how he was weeping under his mask.
When he was
Looking Glass was weeping under his mask.
Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. So what was I want to ask you this, because we've kind of been going off the deep end, which I think is fun in an episode that was this good. It kind of just lends itself to just crazy,
it's fine.
Theorizing. What was your,
because nice short episode we're doing here.
What was your most surprising character? And by this, I mean, most unexpected character. And listen, I don't want to set you up here, so I'm going to be really honest. It might not be actually it's a living character. It might not be mammal. It's just
yours.
No, listen.
You want me to have your same answer, is what you mean.
No.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, but listen, here's what I mean to say.
Okay.
Sometimes if you watch something, okay,
Right.
the silence between two characters can be a character in and of itself, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes a door, if somebody's really afraid, and it's like a horror movie, and they're like, or like what's behind the closet, or like, you know what I mean? Like the closet slat, like,
It's a character unto itself, yeah.
okay. Duh, the answer's fucking obvious now. But what's the character? And what was interesting about it? Tell me.
No, I want you to seriously answer.
The cactus.
The cactus?
At the end, the way they had the camera up, and there he's looking at the cactus, thinking like, "Fuck, do I sell her out?" That cactus became the third character in that scene with Angela Abar, Looking Glass, and the cactus.
Sure, but
I'm not
you
wrong.
act like it's like a foregone conclusion. I'm gonna say the cactus is like the character.
No. I just said what character was the most unexpected character, and it was not a mammal. I mean, like, there's not that many fucking characters. If we think about it that way, the cactus is the only.
The lettuce sandwich. I don't know.
Okay, I guess I could have said. Well, no, that wasn't a good one. That was probably second place.
Okay, thanks.
But that cactus, you had. I guess I mean to say this, right? And this is dumb, and I guess I'm sorry it was too long to say this, but in the precinct, when he's ratting on Sister Night, right? And he looks at the cactus multiple times and he doesn't know if he should do it, and then he does it. We see him put the mask back on. And this time, he's not putting the mask on out of anxiety like he was the rest of the episode. He's not putting it on out of fear. He's putting it on out of fucking guilt.
Shame.
And shame. And you know what? So Laurie was right an episode or two ago when she said you put a mask on to hide. And for the first time, he's not hiding from some dumb psychic link. He's fucking hiding from himself and his own actions. And that's what makes this show so good. And so when you see him do that, you're like, fuck, he's guilty and he feels bad and it's shameful. And he knows what he did, but he had to do it because of his own questions. And so anyway, that's all I want to say.
Dude, okay, that's
Deep.
important to talk about too,
Deep.
though.
It's deep.
But because you look at it as him selling her out, and I look at it as him saving her. Because the Senator Keene knows who she is. He knows her family.
Oh,
he
right.
just
He's gonna
threatened
kill the whole family, yeah.
We will kill her and her whole family unless you sell her out and make her the fall guy. And what he did was save her family. And I think his understanding of her is a degree of trust. I don't think he feels good about what he had to do.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
at the same time, he knew that it was the lesser of two evils of what he had to do. So I don't think that he betrayed her necessarily.
Yeah.
It's in that moral gray area that he like, I had to have you admit to these crimes, and you are in custody now so that your family is safe. That is the better option for you. And at the same time, I think when he said to her, tell me what's going on, because I want to help you. I want to know.
Yeah.
Sure, he knew the cactus is listening.
Whoa,
But
wait.
at the same time,
Wait,
I think
say that again.
he knew the cactus was listening.
Yeah, that's the best line of the whole podcast. He knew the cactus was listening.
But he also, I think he genuinely wants to help her. I think he believes in what she's doing. I think he's conflicted right now because he's been thrown a whole lot of emotional curveballs for a person who's been seriously damaged through his life by all of this trauma. And then having Adrian Veidt say like, hey, I'm in complete collaboration with President Redford.
Cahoots, you say.
Cahoots.
Yeah.
With President Redford, who I put in that position. And you want to piss off conspiracy theorist redneck white trash? Say that the liberal president is in cahoots with the guy who killed 3 million, 50 million people or whatever it was. Yeah. That's going to do it. That's going to mobilize the cell. It's like crazy.
No, you're right. He didn't have a good option. I mean, but definitely you would agree that whenever he pulled the mask down, he was kind of like, fuck, I'm over this.
I totally agree. I think that's a great point. It was a guilt move. It wasn't protecting myself from the radiation or this is my skin. It was, I want to hide myself for a minute.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. That's a great point. I mean, at the end of the episode, does he have an answer to either of his questions? What's true and what am I afraid of? I would say the answer is no. he doesn't have a clear answer of either of those, and it might not matter because he's about to be shotgunned to death.
Right.
Jesus, I don't know. I mean, this was a complex. It was an interesting. I mean, looking glass, look back kind of episode where we just focus on this one character. But what got resolved? Did anything get resolved to you?
Well, we know that Judd,
Yeah.
alongside Keen, are
Yeah.
both actually active in the Seventh Cavalry. It's resolved that the Seventh Cavalry are putting theatrics into their persona and shooting in a fake studio in front of a church because they want that to be part of the mythology of who they are. We know that Captain Metropolis and Hooded Justice were hardcore fucking, which seems important to put in there. And it seems like
Well, now we know why the warnings were
Lindelof
there.
wants to put the jabs in.
Now we know why the warnings were there.
Yeah, like, hey, we're gonna show some Ramcore here.
Wait. Is that called Ramcore? No. What are you doing every day while I'm at work?
Stop.
Are you on Urban Dictionary?
I wanted to go into Mike Cube's moment.
Okay, nice segue.
It's an
I would
evasive maneuver, actually.
Yeah, and I would like to hear your Cube's moment.
My Cube's moment was the phrase "squid pro quo."
Oh yeah. I like that was my second place.
When Keen says, "I want to have a squid pro quo," I thought that was such a cute and clever line in this, and the idea was the quid pro quo was for him to take Angela out of the picture, sell her out, and make her be the fall guy for the murder, in order to kind of clear up that whole investigation. And hopefully, I would assume, the end goal is to have Laurie Blake out of there, because I bet Senator Keen is much more afraid of the FBI and Laurie Blake being involved in the picture here.
Deep state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that, and I think that how powerful and how prevalent the term quid pro quo currently is, just completely played in their favor. I wonder if this was like
one of the South Park things where they like write
last
it like a
minute
week
addition,
before. Yeah.
and they like did a reshoot, or if like it just kind of was kismet. Because I'm sure they shot this a little bit ago, given like how HBO kind of rolls out their shows.
Yeah, I mean, which we don't really need to use that phrase because there are such more apt phrases to use other than quid pro quo.
Well, you're a lawyer. I'm not.
Like bribery,
Bribery,
like extortion, like admitting it on camera every other day and on a tweet. No, but
speaking of admitting things, I thought it was actually
okay,
more endearing that Sister Night admits what she knew to Looking Glass about like all of what like she confided in him at his desk, like, look, I think my grandfather did it, but he's 100 years old, he couldn't have possibly done it, I did hide the evidence. And she straight up confesses because she trusts that guy.
That's what I thought was so beautiful. I mean, okay, and also looking at the scope and kind of like sphere we're working with here, right? Last week, I thought her story was so huge. It was so international. We're learning about the Vietnam War and everything like that, right? It was like, and then here is this podunk guy from Oklahoma that lives in a bunker. We're like, fuck him. You know what I mean? And now we go to, well, not fuck him in a negative way, but it's like, okay, he's kind of small potatoes.
Fuck him in like a positive, like
hooded justice way. Yeah, like don't turn your head when I'm giving it to you, but just trust that I'm giving it to you. So, yeah, so we're looking at, now we look at, whenever she said that, I kind of thought, okay, beautiful moment that she's admitting something to him, but also, oh my God, she's like small potatoes, and now he's the one who's in this like multi-level governmental conspiracy, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like now all of a sudden her stuff seems like small potatoes, and it's not. And it's just this great storytelling where he can just expand characters' stories to these levels that are just totally engrossing. You know? So I don't know. It was really good. I liked it. Another kind of fan thing, was whenever he sat in front of all the screens. I'm talking about obviously Looking Glass, Wade in the mall or warehouse, wherever he's in front of all the TV screens, right?
Right. Adrian Veidt.
Kind of like the Veidt throwback.
Yeah.
Whenever he's saying, hey, I have this small disc, which, again, I don't know why they have discs, but I guess the reparations committee, not reparations, what's it called?
Because
appropriations.
There was this huge Luddite rejection of a lot of technology for a while because they were afraid of of the cancerous effects or like whatever was potentially talking to the aliens. They talk about it in the PDPD.
Oh,
files.
thank you. I was gonna say I don't have that access.
But
Okay, cool.
But
yeah,
but also
cool.
you're a Luddite yourself, so you should completely.
So he had he had
Fair.
a Nintendo GameCube disc, okay,
Right.
and yeah, he had an SSX Tricky disc, which was that not one of the best fucking games, man? SSX Tricky was so good on the GameCube. So he has this disc, and I remember thinking, fuck. That's when I really thought, this is like Lost. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when we see the basketballs shooting around, I was like, this feels like Lost. It felt so good.
Right.
And I thought, God damn, he's going to put the disc in and then it's going to cut to somebody else and we're not going to see it. But then when it stuck on Veidt, I was like, oh, this is like a fan indulgent. This felt like Game of Thrones, like last season, just seeing dragons like crazy. He was indulging us. Because did you expect to actually see Veidt talking? I knew Veidt was going to be talking.
No. You know what I thought? I thought it was actually going to be the interrogation with Laurie. I thought they were going to have that on
fuck
tape.
no.
I thought it was going to be her saying, here's what happened.
No.
I didn't think that Veidt himself was going to be admitting to it, and that was the evidence they had.
I thought it was Veidt for
But
sure.
I love how they de-aged him. He looked really good.
Oh, yeah.
No, I totally didn't think it was going to be him.
Let me ask you this. Have you seen Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
How do they de-age what's his name?
Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah.
And they've been doing it in all the Marvel movies, man.
Okay, I don't know. I don't pay that much
Remember
attention.
they do skinny little scrawny looking Steve Rogers when they took Chris Evans and put him in that little body.
Yeah.
Then they had little baby face.
I thought that was a different actor.
Robert Downey Jr. No, that was him. His face on like a different person's
Holy
body.
smokes, I had no idea.
Robert
Okay.
Downey Jr. They de-aged him for that one scene in Civil War.
Okay.
And yeah, they've been doing that.
So they're
And,
just
like,
good at that.
They're really good at it. And then you look at Will Smith in Aladdin, you're like, is that also Disney?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Why does that one not look as good?
I haven't seen that. Yeah. Okay. I didn't. Okay. Thank you for answering that about
Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Anyway,
Yeah. No. Really good scene. I was surprised they did that, and yeah, pretty wild. I mean, again, this was like if you haven't read the comics, like go back and read them. You know, I mean, it's not going to take that much time. It's a lot of fun.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can go ahead and put a pin on this. How long have we been talking here? It's been an hour and 46 minutes.
Yeah. I think we've all decided that it's Io for sure.
It's definitely IO.
And he said save med,
Mm-hmm.
and because he was thinking about Club Med
Club Med.
or our Medicare system. And no, I mean, I'm excited. Do you know? Okay, so you know the preview. Don't ruin things for me. The next one you say is going to be kind of a throwback on Angela.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Vietnam and stuff like when she's a kid?
It's Angela taking a bunch of... Do you want me to say? Like what I saw?
8 words.
Nostalgia. You're counting. Nostalgia pills take Angela into Will Reeves' memories.
Whoa, not bad.
Huh?
Okay, 8 words.
Had to count it.
That's our haiku. I mean, kind of.
It's not haiku.
Hey, dude, good talking with you. Obviously, this week you mentioned we might have something great with a certain celebrity.
Well, yeah, we might have an interview on Tuesday with Carly Rae. We'll try and put that up right away after we get it locked down. But we want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode. If that doesn't pan out, apologies for the tease.
No, if that doesn't pan out, you still have my article on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
So-
So if you guys are queued into our Patreon, that's patreon.com/Pods the Watchmen. We appreciate all the support. We are putting up supplemental information and material of our own over there. So we want to say thanks to you guys who've already supported us and encourage other people to do it because we are trying to build our own sort of cult.
Oh, I was going to say just pay for the beer and cider.
We're trying to pay for the beer and cider,
scotch.
but build and for the hosting. But
And obviously, I know that you pay attention to social media in a way I do not because I don't have any. But if people want to like obviously chime in, I know we've really appreciated that. What?
You're about to tell people to slide.
I know. No one's sliding it anywhere.
I know what you're going to say.
It's cold right now. It's kind of getting towards winter. I know you don't want anyone sliding into anything. But I know that, like, obviously we've got some really good comments and feedback from people, so we really appreciate it, and it's a lot of fun. This is the whole point of this. So if people have stuff like that, please keep it going.
Yeah. We appreciate all of your support, guys, and we will be back again with a midweek check-in for just the podcast, and our video series will be back next Sunday.
Looking forward to it, and that's kind of getting close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So awesome. Have a good night.
All right. Bye, guys.